Wow, what an absolutely historic triumph for the U.S. men's national team. They didn't just beat Australia 2-0 at Lumen Field, they officially secured their ticket to the knockout stages of the 2026 World Cup in just 2 matches. So let's dive right into this explainer and unpack exactly how Mauricio Pochettino's squad pulled off this absolute masterclass. Now, the massive elephant in the room hit right before kickoff, and that was the absence of Christian Pulisic. The USA's star captain, and arguably their most lethal weapon, was completely ruled out with a calf injury. You know, going into a critical World Cup match without your talisman is usually a recipe for total disaster. But instead of crumbling, the USMNT proved something absolutely vital. No Pulisic, no problem. They didn't rely on a single savior out there, they operated as this relentless collective machine. Guys stepped up across the board, proving the staggering depth we're seeing on this current roster. So, setting the stage here, the pre-match context is actually super fascinating. We've got a highly confident USA coming off a dominant 4-1 victory over Paraguay under Pochettino. With Pulisic out, Ricardo Pepi stepped right into the starting lineup without missing a beat. On the flip side, Australia was feeling equally good after a 2-0 win against Turkey, running coach Tony Popovic's signature counter-attacking system, which everyone affectionately calls Papa Ball. But Popovich made a massive, really surprising gamble. He actually benched their young star player, Nestoria Irankunda, for the start of the match. And honestly, that tactical shift totally set the stage for everything that followed.
Well, it really didn't take long for the fireworks to start. Right in the 11th minute, the USA applies this relentless high press. Antonee Robinson launches a precision long-low pass from the left flank, and Fuller and Balogun just turns on the afterburners. He completely dusts his defender, Alessandro Cercati, drives right into the box, and fires a dangerously low cross across the face of the goal. It causes absolute pure panic for Australia. Defender Cameron Burgess desperately tries to clear it, but he ends up forcing the ball upward and straight into his own net.
1-0, USA. And let me tell you, the atmosphere at Lumen Field was absolutely electric, with nearly 67,000 fans roaring in total unison. Now, while Balogun didn't technically get the goal to his name, make no mistake about it, this was entirely a product of his world-class off-ball pressing. He straight up forced the air. His electric run totally unraveled the Australian defense just 11 minutes into the match. And this actually leads us to a staggering, completely unprecedented milestone. The United States men's national team is now the first team ever in the entire history of the World Cup to force opponent-owned goals in consecutive matches. Just think about that for a second. They forced an own goal against Paraguay and then completely replicated that overwhelming pressure to force another one against Australia. It's a massive testament to Pochettino's aggressive, high-press philosophy that is quite literally forcing opponents to beat themselves.
But the USA definitely wasn't done yet. Right before halftime, Tyler Adams shows some incredible grit to earn a free kick on the near right side. Antonee Robinson takes it short, pinging it to Serginho Dest inside the penalty area. Dest cracks a fierce right-footed shot that deflects off an Australian defender and just loops high into the air. And then, ascending above everyone else, 21-year-old right-back Alex Freeman leaps up, beats Australian goalkeeper Patrick Beach, and smashes a close-range header right into the back of the net. 2-0. There was a quick VAR check for offside, but the goal stood tall. This moment brilliantly illustrates one of the absolute best storylines of the entire 2026 World Cup. You have 21-year-old Alex Freeman celebrating his debut World Cup goal, following directly in the footsteps of his father, Antonio Freeman. For those who don't know, Antonio is an absolute NFL legend and Super Bowl champion wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, famous for the Monday Night Football 2000 catch of the millennium. So we're looking at 2 generations, 2 iconic sports moments, 1 incredible family. It is literally the ultimate American dream narrative manifesting right before our eyes on the global stage.
Coach Pochettino was super quick to highlight just how special this young player is, pointing out his massive evolution and his deep humility. Pochettino emphasized that Freeman is eager to learn, always listens, and is simply a joy to have on the squad. You know, it's one thing to have elite athletic pedigree, but it's another entirely to have the character and work ethic to match it. Freeman becoming the 6th youngest American to ever score in a World Cup, that didn't happen by accident. It happened because of that exact dedication and humble mindset.
Now, coming out of halftime, Australia was definitely not going to just roll over. Coach Tony Popovich realized his first-half gamble failed, so he makes 3 immediate substitutions. He brings on Metcalf, O'Neal, and crucially, their star Irankunda.
Arankunda immediately became a massive threat on the right side. Australia started whipping in multiple dangerous crosses and engineered some really slick combination plays, particularly between Volpato and Arankunda. The tension was really boiling over out there, even resulting in a late scuffle between Balogun and Harry Suter that forced the referee to step in. The pressure was 100% on.
But you know how the U.S. answered that pressure? With an absolute defensive masterclass. The center-back pairing of Tim Ream and Chris Richards formed an impenetrable wall, just absorbing wave after wave of Australian attacks. And when the defense was finally breached, goalkeeper Freeman was right there to make the critical saves. They held their discipline beautifully to secure a clean sheet. And what makes this so wild is that this was the USA's first clean sheet in 10 international matches. Talk about picking the absolute perfect time to lock down your defense.
1930. Just let that year sink in for a second, guys. By securing this 2-0 victory, the USMNT achieved back-to-back World Cup victories for the first time since the inaugural World Cup tournament in 1930. We are literally watching this current squad rewrite nearly a century of history. It completely proves that the opening 4-1 win over Paraguay wasn't just a fluke. Nope, this is the new standard for a team playing with serious swagger on home soil.
When you pull back and look at the big picture here, the achievements from this single match are pretty staggering. We've got the USA qualifying for the round of 32 in just 2 games, which is a modern-era first. Back-to-back wins since 1930. The first team to ever force consecutive own goals in the World Cup. And of course, that beautiful, hard-fought clean sheet. It all points to one undeniable fact. Pochettino's high-press philosophy is totally clicking, and the entire squad has bought in.
So what does this all mean for Group D? Well, the USA is sitting pretty at the top with 6 points, totally dominating as home contenders, and already safely qualified for the knockouts. Meanwhile, it is an absolute dogfight below them. Australia and Paraguay are deadlocked at 3 points each, fighting for their tournament lives. And unfortunately for Turkey, after a 1-0 loss to Paraguay featuring a bizarre 64-second goal and a historic red card, they sit at 0 points and are completely eliminated. The USMNT is firmly in the driver's seat as they look ahead to their final group match.
So, this brings us to a really fun debate to wrap up today's explainer. I want to throw this question directly out to you. Which moment is more iconic? Is it Antonio Freeman's impossible Monday Night Football catch of the millennium? Or is it his 21-year-old son Alex soaring through the air to score a World Cup header on home soil? I mean, it's the ultimate cross-sport debate. I am genuinely torn here, so I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown of a truly historic match. Keep studying the game, stay curious, and I'll see you for the next one.